Hey, this is Yuri Lowenthal. I play Peter Parker in Spider-Man and PS4 Spider-Man. And when I'm not swinging around the city, saving it from crime, I'm listening to the Raw Dogs podcast. They are part of the Greenlit Podcast Network. They talk about video games and beer, two things that I like very much. So, check them out.
Sippy cup.
Alrighty, round 2, and we're back, and welcome to Raw Dogs.
Hey!
We had a shenanigans with a popping microphone, and Tom spilt his gall-darn delicious deer all over the table.
All over the place. I'm
Gall-darn delicious beer all over the table, too. We did it. We already said this once, but yes, it is December 31st when we are listening to this, so it is the end of this egregious, most horrible year that had a lot of good things as well, but I don't think anyone's super sad that 2020 is coming to an end.
Yeah.
You get no gripes from me, that's for sure.
And hopefully, Tom Spilt Beer is the last shenanigan. Shenanigans? Is shenanigan a single thing too? You can have a shenanigan.
Shenanigan.
There's only one shenanigan, and then there are many shenanigans.
Well, hopefully that was the last shenanigan this year.
As I just throw a beer against the wall. Yeah, sorry guys, and sorry, but fuck you 2020. That's how pissed off I am at you.
Yeah.
I still think it's your fault when you made the Dogcast title "Hurt Me Plenty 2020," and
I might have jinxed it just a little bit.
Did not age like milk. There is what that did.
Yeah, dude. When I got in, you were so cheesed. You were just punching the holes in the wall. Didn't even know you could do that because it's cement.
I was very angry, very roided up.
Tom's got a weird body.
Yeah.
Hulk strength.
Yeah.
This is, of course, Brad, Big Papa Brad, Loaf of White Brad. You're hearing here, and I'm happy this year's coming to an end. Who's sitting across from me in the beautiful flannel?
It's me, Dylan. In take one, I had a really great Bob Dylan thing that I went off on, but
It was great.
now I'm just Dylan.
Sure.
Demons Draw Dylan on Instagram.
Right on. I'm Nick. Hopefully, just to fulfill a bit, soon to be Sir Nicholas. I'm buying a title for myself for Christmas.
Are you?
Yeah. It's the most useless waste of money that I've ever decided
buying
to
a star.
actually.
But if you actually get a title, sir, that's kind of cool.
So it's going to be fun because on my ServSafe certificate, I'm going to make them print Sir.
I like that.
Yeah.
That is good.
It'll be great.
Yeah.
That's if you pass. Better study.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I used to have one.
But for now,
It's really easy.
you're just regular Nick,
Just regular old Nick for now.
and
Jolly old Saint.
you probably won't be canonized, so you won't be Saint Nick.
Dang.
We don't know. There might be a miracle before this one's done.
Oh.
And Tarm,
Hey.
who are you?
Tarm.
I am become Tom, spiller of beer. All over the place.
Dude, when you're all klutzy, we're just going to call you Tarm.
It's amazing I haven't spilled more beer because I'm the world's biggest klutz. I'm tripping on things even when I'm sitting down. So I'm Tom. I'm part of this sometimes. Thanks for letting me be on this one.
Yeah, it's great to have you.
I'm really excited to talk about music. This is a good topic.
We've got so many raw dogs now that sadly not all of us are able to come on every episode, but
They're just like gremlins.
we'll
Pour
all
some water on them.
We'll all
pour some beer on them.
We'll all bounce around here. Before we get into the episode, we want to thank our Patreon executive producers, Brian Ward, Mark Nenow, Tyler Keller, and Kate Conti. Thank you so much for supporting us. And for all of you other Patreon supporters, we love you as well. And if you want to help the podcast in a way that doesn't cost you anything, consider going to Apple Podcasts and writing a review. It helps us more than you'd think, and it's free and it's easy. And if you write a funny review, you better believe we're going to read it on the air.
Oh yeah, and
we
if
do.
If you got other dork friends and you think that they need some way to fill their goddamn time, give us a shout out.
We do lore bukkake on this show. Like, who doesn't want to
Dude,
listen to that?
The next one is going to get so fucking horny.
It's like there's no reason Mortal Kombat got horny, and it got really horny.
Oh, that's just how I roll.
Mega Man should not get horny though.
Yeah, it might though.
There's a
Take your pants off, Mega Man.
I've podcasted with you guys many
Off,
times.
Mega
It's
Man.
getting horny as fuck.
The topic for today's episode, we're doing the top 10 final boss themes in video game history, and we thought it'd be fitting since this year we're at the end of the year, so it's kind of like a final boss. Also, this entire year is like the optional fuck you boss in every game that you need to be level 99 to beat.
Damn you, Ruby.
Yes,
Lupin.
yeah, exactly.
We're all staggering through at the end with 5 HP.
With that Zodiac spear.
We're out of potions, we're out of beers, but we're going to make it through this year. And so how we did this was way more convoluted than it needed to be. Everyone gave me a top 5 list, and then I combined those into one top 12 list-ish.
Yeah.
And then from that top 12, everyone chose their top 5. If it sounds stupid, it's because I didn't make a lot of sense when I made it. But we have a list now.
We do.
We do have
Take
a
that,
list.
Watch Mojo.
And it is...
Fucking
yeah.
only 10?
Here are your top 10 final boss game. Number 44.
Oh, God. Is that where we're starting?
Number 4.
We had a lot of additions. Yeah, sorry. Since
Kirby and the Amazing Shark. So let's just jump right into it, since we do have a lot of games to talk about, and we're also going to have little clips of the music thrown in. Dylan, I thought since you're the one who put this game on the list, you could start us off with number 10.
Final Fantasy 15 is a very mixed bag game. I found myself having fun with it, even though I didn't think it was deserving of my time or attention. There were things about it I really loved, and it really, at the end of the day, becomes like the definition of missed opportunity in mediocrity. But I will say the music is quite good, and this is one of the final bosses. So this is the battle with Ifrit, the one that you see as a flash forward at the beginning of the game when you're, spoiler alert, older. And
Is this not Magna Insomnia? Because that's the song that I got for the final boss.
oh, okay, I meant Hellfire.
Well, we'll pull that up separately.
Okay.
You mean Hellfire?
Yeah. It's a string of so it's like, you know how Ultimecia has like, you know what? This might not even count as a final boss.
If it's not a final boss, the game.
But it is, yeah.
You
you're
made the
right.
rules.
I know.
You were allowed to change them mid.
No, but then he could have done Megalovania for Undertale. I was just thinking because
Which
Hellfire...
is great, by the way.
Oh,
It's fantastic.
You were robbed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, why we took Through the Fire and Flames out from Guitar Hero.
I thought that would have been...
It's not really a boss, though.
No.
Final level.
I want it to be like.
Burn your
to me,
fingers.
you needed a tangible bad guy, like to also be tied to the song.
I was just thinking of, like, because that final boss battle with... God, I can't even remember the bad guy's name.
Arden.
Arden, thank you. It was so blah, but the battle with Ifrit was
The
so...
lead up. Yeah.
The battle with Ifrit was actually my version of the final boss.
That's right. Yeah, I'm remembering that now.
If
I can't even remember the Battle of Arden, like what that
you're
fucking
basically
was.
flying around in the air, button mashing. It really sucks.
So it's
like
a Kingdom
the rest
Hearts
of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it doesn't technically count, but we're gonna roll with it because
Do it.
that's what we have.
Well, what we're going to do is we'll listen to a little bit of Hellfire, and then we'll also hear a little bit of Magna Insomnia, the final boss of the game as well. You were saying you didn't actually like the final boss of
No.
FF15.
It's a little just button mashy. You end up using a lot of just potions, and there's like no real pattern to it. If you ask me, that game is not a game with a lot of strategy to it, unless it's like warping away to rest for a second.
I never cared for the Final Fantasy 15 battle system that much.
I thought it was gonna build when I first started playing it. I'm like, oh, I get this. And then it just ended up being the same exact fucking thing.
Because I know people say if you put enough time into, 13, eventually it gets really fun with the paradigm shifts.
After 40 hours.
But I'm like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I did that.
Does it get fun, the battle system?
There's a part where everything kind of opens up and you get to do all these bounty missions.
The
that's
world.
kind of fun.
I like the battle system of 13 a lot, actually. That was the best part of that game.
Because you just didn't like thinking when you were playing?
Actually,
No,
it does
I thought you really
take a lot of thought.
I thought you did really had to find the correct combination of people to stagger.
That game
that's why I liked it a lot, or at least the battle part of it. The game could go lick my balls.
That game does get very hard towards the end. If you're not up on your paradigm shifts and you're not juggling what spells people should be using, and you don't have that set up, then you're screwed. It at first glance it feels like something that you just watch happen, but I will say the battle system didn't turn me off, but it also didn't pull me into it either. So
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking of a saving grace or a positive thing about a turd, basically, that I could say.
Yeah, unfortunately, 13 had just one of those issues where none of the characters truly captured me. Even Lightning.
You saying you didn't like Vanille?
Who was that
like
again?
Vanille.
Was that the good boy?
No.
Sexy Twin Tails.
Yeah.
I'm the really bubbly girl of the thing. Hi.
She made Riku look pretty chill.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely just all of Final Fantasy dialed up to 11, both the bad and not quite so much the good.
Yeah,
But bringing it back to 15, composer Yoko Shimomura, she is someone we've actually heard a lot of in many games. She also composed Super Mario RPG, the Mario and Luigi series, Parasite Eve, and the Kingdom Hearts series as well, which I was pretty excited to hear all of that. So why did you choose Hellfire as your favorite final boss? One of your favorite final boss songs?
Because I learned a few things while doing the minimal research was just picking favorites, which can be its own level of research and fun. But I think for the most part, I really love a very operatic, orchestrated, almost like Wagnerian kind of swell of music that feels very intense. That
Like a
kind
tidal
of
wave.
Yeah, it pounds into your head a little. It kind of gets you all jazzed up. If you can't feel the bass on these songs, I'm like, what are you doing?
Are you saying you're all about that bass? The bass?
They've been saying that
treble.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I noticed about Dylan because he's carrying around those big subwoofer boombox things.
Right? Yeah. My name's Dylan. I'm here to say.
I like bass in a major way. No,
We'll work on it.
I just thought this one really stuck with me. I like the structure. It has a very because the song itself is based off of the forms that Ifrit takes as you're fighting him, and they'll go on repeat and then repeat and then repeat for each section of it. And then it just builds until the triumphant conclusion, and that's when you finally start kicking his ass, and then Shiva just pops out of nowhere and finally destroys him, and it's okay, shit, yeah,
Gives him a nice smooch, right?
yeah, freezes him to death, yeah. Well, if you didn't know, in Final Fantasy 15 lore, there's a backstory where all of the what do they call them in that? Do they call them Aeons? What do they call them?
Espers.
Espers,
They're-
yeah. Something
Whatever
like
they
that.
call them.
I can't remember what they call them.
Divines.
Yeah.
Something weird.
It's something.
Eidolons.
They're
You know
summons.
Is
Eidolons.
it Eidolons?
Big
From,
monster-y
on 9.
things you can call upon.
But apparently they are technically
Yeah.
elemental.
Adolans?
I don't know. They're summons.
Anyways.
Mickey Dolans?
They are elemental gods of this planet, and then there's this whole backstory where they have their own kind of Greek mythology with each other, but the game never fucking tells you. You read it in a couple books.
Yeah.
And then
in the
Sean
game.
Bean shows up in an animated movie and explains
Yeah.
something.
Oh my
yeah.
God.
That was probably Final Fantasy 15's greatest failing, was just
I liked that movie.
Expecting, yeah, but you can't expect your fans to
I know.
do all of the satellite things.
Yep.
If you're a gaming company, you need to explain all of your story in your games.
Let's be clear, they didn't explain it well in the
You don't have to explain all of your story in your games. I think things not being explained gives it a real depth and feel that there is a bigger world, which is good too.
That's totally
Sometimes, just not Final Fantasy 15.
Not Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah. When
Kingdom Hearts might explain too much of their story.
Some would argue. Some would argue.
And that nonverbal storytelling of just I always go back to the blue milk on Tatooine.
Did the Origin five-part comic series or something?
Well, no, it's just a thing where it's like, oh, okay, they have blue milk. They live on a desert planet. That's just like a thing that is in the world.
Right.
That totally is story building.
Actually milked Shiva to get that.
I get it.
I wouldn't mind that.
but there is a certain level of you must tell before you can show.
Yeah.
Especially in a video game where it's...
I just had flashbacks to that one fighting game on the 3DO. There was a mission and there was a book on top
Way
of
of the
mountain
Warrior.
with the warriors.
Look how far Naughty Dog's come.
That skull could sure talk for not having a fucking tongue.
And on this mountain. Yeah. Oh, my God.
Yeah, that was number 10. It
was.
And I have a feeling there might be another one that's not actually a final boss in this list. But up next, we got number 9. This is a game that that Tom definitely submitted.
Wow.
It is. Yes. Is this Gate of Thunder?
Yes.
Okay. This one isn't going to be as long as Final Fantasy 15. But this is my way of kind of backdooring this soundtrack into the conversation. Gate of Thunder was a 1992 release for the TurboGrafx CD back in the day when your friendly dogcaster Tom was 14 years old. And it was my first experience with listening to a game with Red Book audio, with actual CD audio. And Gate of Thunder is a shooter that came with the system. It came on a disc with Bonk's Revenge and Bonk's Adventure. And it is completely guitar driven. I had never heard anything like this ever playing a game before. I mean, this was the next evolution. And when this game came out, it got rave reviews for the soundtrack. And I was listening to it today, and it still fucking slaps. It's kind of, when you listen to Gate of Thunder, you can, if there's a family tree, if somebody ever does just a history of music soundtracks and the evolution, this is going to be this will be one of the roots, because a lot of the submissions that everybody gave, I could sense a little bit of DNA from this game. You might call it butt rock, or maybe but it's something I wouldn't really listen. I wouldn't have listened to on its own, but in the context of the game and just bringing back the nostalgia of the game, it's phenomenal. And I do have a bit of of just an example of what I might have experienced back in the day, going from the old video games to hearing this. Okay, so
send me the audio so I can put it in there too. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, like I said, Gate of Thunder is a shooter for the Super CD, for the TurboGrafx
First
CD.
person, third person?
It's just like Gradius.
Oh.
You know?
Oh, is this
It's
a
a
helicopter one?
It's a spaceship.
Oh, okay.
It's one where it was a good to great shooter, but the music today still kind of transcends the game.
Yo, music lives forever.
So here's an example. Okay, here's Bonk's Revenge, also on the same CD. That's the kind of music that I was used to listening to up to that point. That's a regular TurboGrafx 16 sound chip, your 16-bit.
Kind of murky.
8-bit, kind of 16-bit sound at the time. And yeah, no big deal. It's just kind of par for the course. Now imagine on the same CD, me going and playing Gate of Thunder and hearing this shit for the first time ever.
like Bonk brought glow sticks and ecstasy to the club.
Totally. And took like 8 years of Vaseline off the ears. But man, it was just a fucking revelation of what the CD format could do. And yeah, it was just night and day. Like even today, thinking back on it, I was still just kind of floored. I'm like, my God, that was a step. I mean, that was a monumental step in my evolution as a gamer. But
big moment.
This is the way.
Big moment. So
Even on your mono TV, or did you have stereo?
I actually had a stereo.
Better, yeah.
You remember those? You probably don't remember, but the consoles that had like the phonograph and the double tape deck, and then a CD player.
Yeah, my mom had it.
Okay.
My mom refused to get anything.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay.
So yeah, I used
know what
to
I'm
play
talking
on those.
Yeah, I had one of those. So I put in the final boss music, which is the final boss track. It's not. I don't think it has a name. It's just like final boss. But
Yep.
Okay. It's actually probably one of the weaker songs on the soundtrack. Wow. It still
bumps.
It's still pretty good. But I mean, please, if you're cleaning your house one day and you're like, I don't know, should I listen to something? Just go on YouTube. They have the whole soundtrack on there.
Or if you accidentally mixed up your ibuprofen with Molly.
Yes.
And you just need something.
But no, I mean, it is seriously good. And like I said, when I was listening to a lot
just
of
vacuuming your house, just fucking raging.
Allie comes home, I'm vacuuming, and I just have a pacifier.
Yeah, if you, especially
gotta clean.
if you like just wailing fucking guitars.
What's up, baby?
And yeah, the soundtrack was by a guy named Nick Wood.
I was surprised doing my research. It won a bunch of awards, but I was looking into the making of the soundtrack, and I guess SYN Studios or something had done the music, and one of the three people is Nick Wood. And then there's also Simon LeBon of Duran Duran, who allegedly was very involved and possibly did some of the compositions completely. So if you hear some Duran Duran rockiness to it, it's because he was at least around and influencing it.
And I didn't even know that until today when I kind of was looking around online, just kind of doing a little bit of research it myself, and it makes sense. So
let's have a listen here to Final Boss, which plays when you're fighting Final Boss.
No way. Anyways,
for everyone listening, Tom hit a button on his phone and his entire living room turned into a rave from the 90s. There were flash cuts everywhere and parachute pants. It was crazy.
Yes.
I think I saw Trinity.
And Marky Mark was here. It was really weird.
Everybody's going to be touching their faces in about 10 minutes. It's going to be great.
I love you guys.
What are fingers?
Anyways, that's Gate of Thunder. Check it out. And it has a better known sequel called Lords of Thunder, which was on more
I think I played Lords of Thunder.
more consoles, and that has a similar soundtrack. So
I don't even recall.
there you go.
Number 8.
Number 8.
This is one that I threw on there. I've always been a big fan of the Sonic the Hedgehog soundtracks, the original ones. I think they're probably the best part of those games.
Yeah.
I find the replayability on those Sonic games is pretty bad. Going fast, like it's about memorization and like almost doing speedrun lines and like a Tony Hawk, knowing where you're going to hit your jumps. But I've always thought the soundtracks are some of the best parts of those games. And having a listen through some of them, I thought Sonic the Hedgehog 3 had my favorite song, the final boss theme for Dr. Robotnik. It is driving. It is terrifying. It has that same effect as being underwater for too long in a Sonic game, where it makes you more and more anxious. The more you're listening to the song,
Like Baby Mario crying. Ugh.
still have nightmares. And
Get out of your bubble.
there's a lot of fun stories about the making of the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 soundtrack. I guess they had a certain couple of people do the first two. They didn't want to pay them to make the third one, so they're not really sure who made a lot of the songs. There's like so many people with their hands in the pie.
Yes.
And
now they might be a little reluctant to say who may have helped
and
contribute.
it's not known how much of the original soundtrack is even owned by Sega. Like, they don't have a lot of this information available. What they have said is very definitively Michael Jackson was not involved. Everybody else that worked on the project, though, said Michael Jackson was definitely involved.
On 3? Yeah, he was.
Yeah, of course he was.
Yeah,
So
A
I can
few
see
of those
that.
songs are obvious. Yeah.
The composers, here's the list. Brad Buxer, Bobby Brooks, Daryl Ross, Jeff Grace, Doug Grigsby III, Skiro Roku, which is a pseudonym someone used. They didn't want their name on there for something, and Michael Jackson. Now, Brad Buxer claims that Michael Jackson and his team worked for 4 weeks developing tracks for Sonic the Hedgehog 3. And this was when the very first allegations arose of pedophilia touching children. And this is where there's some conflicting stories, because at some point he stopped working on it. And some people say he was terminated because of these allegations. Other people say he was unhappy with the quality of the music that was coming through.
Either way, who gives a shit?
Either way, these songs bump.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson has an ear for music. And, oh man, I love all of the songs from this game.
Yeah, when I listened to that song that you sent, Brad, I was actually kind of surprised how much it fucking rocked. I totally didn't remember it from back in the day. I know I beat the game, but
Yeah, and I guess like for some of those tracks, it was just like Michael beatboxing over beats, and that eventually like they worked some of that in there. I guess the Casino Land song is the one that you can feel like, yeah, this is a Michael Jackson song. And there's even some Game Gear music, which is like a Janet Jackson song before, like Janet Jackson released a song. It's the exact everything. Maybe I'll throw that in here. Maybe I won't. We'll see if I want to in 2 days.
I love me some Janet.
But here is the song Final Boss Theme from Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
God, this guy is going to murder me, as well as, I got this. Like, I'm Sonic. I got this.
I got the chili dogs.
Robotnik is like always a chump. And I remember having a little bit of trouble with Sonic 3 in particular near the end. I don't know. I think the music is part of it. It made me feel like he was tougher than he was, which, I mean, that's a good final boss song if it's adding to all of the pressure you're feeling.
The tension, yeah.
And
absolutely.
This song in particular makes me like, it starts off slow and that like the drum comes in.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden just ramps it up, kicks you in the dick, and it's off. And the time crunch is very real.
It's time to go fast.
You got to go fast in this one.
I don't even remember playing most of Sonic 3. I played a lot of Sonic and Knuckles. 3 always kind of like flew right past me.
That's a really weird case where those games were like originally supposed to be one big epic.
Yeah.
Which if there's anything people wanted, it's like a super overly long epic Sonic game. This was probably like them, like an early showing of them not knowing what people really wanted. Man, that's just a Sonic and Knuckles cartridge. It's like, what Frankenstein monsters were working at Sega that's like, all right, the 32X goes in there, attach the Sega CD to the side. How many wires can we hook up to this guy?
I think that, Sonic and Knuckles and Sonic 3 were the progenitor of the 32X. You're like, this is a great idea. Let's just plug things into other things. Oh, fuck, man. This is going to be awesome.
And eventually
buy it like gangbusters.
The guy who actually invented the Sonic and Knuckles cartridge is the guy who directed Human Centipede. A lot of people don't know that.
Ooh, there you go. See?
Not true.
One beget.
I was going to say, there's no way.
He's German.
I don't know who submitted Dark Souls, but that's number 7. Who wants to talk about it?
Now, we're talking about Gwyn, Lord of Cinder,
yes.
right? This, I think Tom and I can both.
Yeah,
talk
we were
about
both.
this
Yeah,
one. I found this one extremely effective.
Same here.
Can I get so I've never played the Dark Souls trilogy.
Sure.
Can you
explain
Brad,
lore? You peasant.
Fuck you.
Allow us to regale you.
Can you explain just briefly like the epicness or like the lore of who Gwyn is?
Sure. So in the beginning, in the opening of Dark Souls, they explain this story about how Gwyn and all of the first lords rise up from out of this primordial soup underground that is eventually called the fire, and the fire is life. And they come to the surface and they destroy the essentially like rock dragons. They're like these giant stone immortal creatures that have sway over the entirety of the world above. They rise up and they destroy all of these dragons, and they take control of the surface world. And all these immortal creatures, they start building civilizations, and life tends to start to prosper. And then suddenly they find out that the fire is dying, and they need to find a way to rekindle it. And at a certain point in the game, Gwyn goes to what is called the thing of the first flame. I forget what it's called.
I'm going to smile and nod right now.
Okay.
Yes.
And you walk into
That sounds
it.
right.
You walk into it not expecting to see what's there, and you see basically a hollowed Gwyn, who was once the king of all of this land, who had sacrificed himself in order to keep the flame going and to keep life prosperous.
Yep.
And so your decision as the player character is whether or not to continue and use your life to rekindle the flame, or to let it walk, or to walk away and let it sink into darkness.
Yes.
And Gwyn is the final boss of Dark Souls.
Yeah.
And I know the song, it's very mellow. It's like more sort of mournful.
That's why. And that adds to its effectiveness. It's essentially a piano concerto, kind of like I said, a mournful piano concerto. But the reason it's so effective is, and I don't know if you felt this way, Dylan. Back in the day, beating Dark Souls or getting to the end of Dark Souls was quite a feat. Now people do it in like 30 minutes, and it's no big deal. Little kids are beating it on their iPhone, but
on drums.
So by the time you're at the end of this game, you've made it through this huge crucible. All the music before, or a lot of the boss music, is this big, bombastic, super orchestral.
Well, that's really all the music in the game.
It is, yes.
It's only during boss battles.
Right, yep. And so I don't know how many bosses in the game, but there's a lot of boss fights in the game, right? Yeah. So by the time you get to Gwyn, the last dude, it just was so good that it's just this sparse, almost a single piano, just sad song for a sad man.
Well, and if you're like me, I ate up this lore like crazy. Mm-hmm. This was like even before like Vati Vidya, who did all of the stuff for the Soulsborne series. I couldn't get enough of it. I had to find every secret. I had to know exactly what was going on, and like absorbing that and taking all of that in, and then I'm like, oh, this is like almost like I'm putting down a diseased dog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you don't feel good about it, but it has to be done,
right? Because the final boss fight,
he was only trying to protect he was only trying to protect the bonfire.
You just can't hold out anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of like killing Martyr Ligarius to me in Bloodborne, the guy who's just nobly protecting everybody and keeping the Vile Bloods locked away, and you go in there and just fuck him up, and then kill Queen Annalise, and then resurrect her and kill her again.
Yeah. And the final boss fight isn't particularly difficult.
I found his reach to be a little difficult, but if
compared
you're like
to
a faster
others,
character, if you're a shield bearer, especially, it's really difficult.
Yeah. So at least I didn't find it as difficult as others. At least I
don't think it was meant to.
Exactly, and I think that added to that. So the song on its own, if you listen to it, it's it's a good song, but taken with the boss fight itself, like we said, it is entirely effective and a great example of how music can just make the battle even more special.
And the juxtaposition is kind of where a lot of the magic happens there.
Completely.
Here is from Dark Souls, Gwyn, Lord of Cinder, which plays when you're fighting Gwyn, Lord of Cinder. Do you know that this composer, the composer of this one has another game on our list? If you're not aware,
is it Three Houses or
no?
No, it couldn't be.
Yeah, he's pretty prolific. He's
done
done a lot of stuff, and not just like Dark Soulsy stuff. He's done like poppy.
His name is the composer Motoi Sakuraba.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Also composed. Where is it at?
Go
Star
ahead.
Ocean, Golden Sun, the Tales series, as well as something else that we have on the list here.
He did way better than those Tales games.
Baten Kaitos?
Yes.
Baten Kaitos, yes.
I think there's. I really like that as a motif. Having, you have a big, difficult boss, but then the final boss isn't as difficult, but it's more like you have to put the final nail in the coffin or end something or put something down. It reminds me of like Final Fantasy X. I remember the first time like this, like what's going on here? But
totally,
you have to just like beat the fuck out of religion one last time,
Can dig it.
Yeah, I mean,
God is dead. Eat ass, man.
It is the most JRPG thing out there to defeat God.
And that's what most JRPGs especially end up being. This one is so different to me because at the end of it, Gwyn doesn't even feel nor Gwyn are the most powerful person in this entire universe anymore. You're kind of at the, it's going to sound so stupid, you're kind of at the will of these little serpents that love to pop out of the ground, and they've got weird teeth.
Weird teeth. Yeah. I don't like serpents with like human teeth. It just doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Serpents with human teeth.
Frampt and
Yep.
Dark Seeker. Oh, God, man, I used to be obsessed. I used to know all the names. Now,
Dude, I used to be able to explain every member of Organization 13 in Kingdom Hearts.
Damn.
And that's bad.
Thanks for getting girlfriends.
Yeah. No, I don't have time for Kingdom Hearts anymore.
Just kidding.
Thanks, Carly.
Yeah.
That actually would have turned Allie on, so it's fine.
True.
Shion. Roxas.
I love Dark Souls in general. Rarely does the final boss ever affect me in any of these Souls games. Sometimes I'm just like, okay, let's finish this up.
I think just mixing it up and having a piano concerto is super effective that even if you're not into the lore or paying attention, if you're just there hitting buttons, but you hear that piano, you're having just a different visceral reaction, even if you're not paying attention to anything.
Because you're expecting just this huge boss fight, given how the rest
a choir of like men in a giant hall screaming Latin is what you expect. That's what a final boss is.
That's Ornstein and Smough.
Yeah.
That's them. That's the one where you get that. I've heard it pronounced Smough,
Well, you heard it wrong.
but whatever.
I still love you.
It's also pronounced Smaug, too. So.
Schmaug.
Fuck you, Nick. Fuck off, the new guy with all these opinions. Just kidding.
I know. I'm
Just kidding, I don't know.
I'm
Yeah.
very aggressive.
I defer to Dylan.
Okay.
Smuff.
Number 6.
Smuff me, baby.
Number 6.
We have Donkey Kong Country 2. Now, I was the one who put this one up for the vote, and I had a difficult time choosing between Donkey Kong Country 2, 1, 3, and Tropical Freeze because David Wise is the man. Huge fan. And King K. Rool theme honestly isn't my favorite song from the series by far. I do love it as a final boss piece, though. It brings a lot of like leitmotifs back from other parts of the game, callbacks and stuff.
You actually mentioned earlier as well that one of the songs sounded a bit like Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
This one does it for me, of just like, man, this is just like a pirate bop.
Pirate bop is a good genre of music. It's like kids bop, but with pirate shanties. Dylan, you'd get that.
What do we do with a drunken sailor?
Can you imagine the commercial, like kids with like bucket hats on, like pointing at you and stuff?
Oh my god!
Like holding like fake hook hands with a parrot.
Leave her, Johnny, leave her.
Pirate bop.
Your favorite sea shanties to drink? I don't know, Kool-Aid too.
That's right.
Pirate bop 69.
No grog, I guess.
Of course, composed by David Wise. This is additional work by Evelyn Fisher and Graham Norgate, who helped out here and there. But this soundtrack was mostly by the great David Wise. And I'm a big fan of Tropical Freeze as well, when he gets to just kind of go full ham, which he hadn't been able to do in a long time. Mm-hmm. But here is the King K. Rool theme, which plays when you are fighting against King K. Rool. Yeah, David Wise is a master of jumping between genres, too. He'll go from the super fun, light island music to that aquatic ambiance, which there's nothing like that.
Yeah, he's good.
And then he jumps into heavy metal in some songs. Yeah. This one is fun, the little pirate stuff, and then we heard the French horns, and then Tom starts shredding on the guitar, and we just started.
So what's probably
band.
A lute or a piccolo,
Donkey Dog Country.
I think that this guy is the queen of the queen. Yes, queen. Let's be
Queen.
Queens can be boys now. I think he's the king of atmosphere. There's some levels in that game that are completely made by the soundtrack.
The mine
That's the only
cart
reason I'll
ones.
play those games.
The underwater ones.
There's almost not even a lot of music. It's just these great dripping sound effects that are layered in lightly over a little bit of music, and absolutely the levels are so enhanced.
Mm-hmm. The DK rap. I mean, come on, come on.
He's coming for you.
I don't even know.
The first member of the Raw Dogs crew. That is a very high Patreon tier. Someone gives $100, we will write the lyrics and record it.
I will literally,
We'll record it for that.
Be like the Super Bowl shuffle.
All right. So we're going to hear from some of the other amazing shows from the Greenlit Podcast Network. We'll be right back.
All right.
So whose controller did you break?
With a purposeful grimace and a terrible smile, join Nikki and Wyatt as we stomp our way through the history of Toho's Dai Kaiju films in Discuss All Monsters.
Are you telling me we're going to discuss all monsters?
We won't stop until there isn't a monster left to discuss. Smash that play button like Godzilla and King Kong smash an 18th century Japanese pagoda.
Only on the Greenlit Podcast Network.
Hey folks, it's Asif Khan, CEO and Editor-in-Chief over at ShackNews.com. Give a listen to our 9 to 5 Elon podcast about Tesla and electric vehicles and all sorts of cool stuff over there on the Greenlit Podcast Network.
I don't mind Tropical Seltzer. I haven't had the new batch, so I'm curious.
Ooh, what do you got, Dylan?
Triple West Coast.
Oh, cool.
It's a new can design.
I hope it tastes better.
I want to go with this guy right
And we're back, everybody. Welcome back to Raw Dogs.
Wow. Hello, where were you?
It was snappy.
And
Man, I love Dragon Force.
yeah.
Do you like all of Dragon Force, or is it kind of just okay? Because
That might be the only Dragon Force song I ever. listen
well,
to.
I like some of their stuff, but this is by far like kind of actually the one that sounds the best.
I remember
yeah.
downloading the Mjolnir mix from Halo 2 for Guitar Hero 3.
Oh,
And you can do that Steve Vai shredding on there.
Oh, really?
That was a free DLC, I think.
That's cool. I
Yeah.
did not know
At
that.
some point.
To hook that shit up.
If you were on the Xbox 360, you got it.
It feels every bit as epic as you would think it would.
Yeah.
They're being like, ba, 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 ba.
So were you guys all Guitar Hero people? Besides Dylan?
I sure, yeah. I mean, not really, but I had
Jumped
all
on the
of it.
train for a little bit?
Yeah, it was a party game, and I had friends over.
You couldn't avoid
It's worth
it.
having it.
Yeah.
Talking about drugs, my first time taking mushrooms.
Oh, God.
Well, apart
Buckle
from the
in,
first
kids.
like hour and a half, which I went up in a tree, and I wouldn't get down from the tree.
Sounds right.
It wasn't like bad. I was afraid I was going to lose the tree, and I thought it was a perfect tree. It makes sense.
No, I used to.
It's an ant.
But
I got
then
obsessed with houseplants.
we got back to the dorm because it was in college, and then someone had just gotten Guitar Hero 3, which just came out, and I beat it start to finish, tripping on shrooms in front of like 8 people.
Nice.
And that was my Jimi Hendrix moment.
Dude.
What I did, I had a cactus, and I gently rubbed my finger on the needle of it, like I was just like, "Whoa, okay."
There.
This thing's. I'm like, this thing's alive. Okay.
What a prick.
Right. Yes. Tell us your drugged up Guitar Hero stories. We'd
Absolutely.
love to hear
If you
them.
have any, hairthedogcast@gmail.com.
They will stay confidential unless you want us to read them.
We're on Facebook. Yeah. We'll talk about it on the air.
You can stay anonymous, and we can still share your stories.
Yes. Maybe.
Nick, did you ever play Blue Dragon?
I didn't.
Tom?
This is a game that I'm completely
No.
unfamiliar with.
Dylan, lead us into number 5.
Blue Dragon, the first game from Mistwalker Studios, which has Hironobusaka Gucci.
The Gooch.
And this is Nobuo Uematsu.
First time he's showing up on the list.
Uematsu.
Uematsu, baby. He's basically the composer from everything you love in Final Fantasy. And this song rips so hard, and the fact that this game was trapped on the Xbox 360 and no one else played it is crazy. It had art designed by Akira Toriyama.
It looks beautiful.
Full 3D. It still looks good. It still looks like a beautiful like Pixar cartoon.
I got it for like $5. It was on sale,
Yeah.
and I picked it up, so I have it ready to play at some point.
And this song rips so hard. I used to just like it ended up on a ton of playlists for things that had nothing to do with it, because I'm like, if I needed to get the fuck out of bed in the morning,
Yeah.
I'd just be like, hell yeah.
I think I listened to it for the first time today, actually. And my first thought was, and this is not a pejorative, but I'm like, this could have been on an Avenged Sevenfold demo tape
Yeah. Yeah.
when they were recording an album.
So Nobuo is really he's really into like me, he loves like these 70s rock bands.
Very operatic.
Especially like Deep Purple. In fact, one of the singers of Deep Purple did the boss battle theme. It's called Eternity. We could play that before that if you want, but it's literally the guy from Deep Purple who Nobuo went up to him and said like, "Hey, I really admire your stuff. Can you sing on one of my tracks for this game?" And he fucking did it.
This is the beginning. To live, it's all been started under the sky above. This is the beginning. Move on, something started. Feel what you learn to love. Feel it all in your eyes, showing you what you can see. Reaching hands, you are blind, staring down eternity. Feel it all in your eyes.
Dun, dun, dun,
No, it's
Fighting. Yeah.
it's actually a lot faster than that, and he goes, "What?" It's really good. And then like this song comes on, and I'm just like, "Oh shit! You just wanted to make a late '70s Deep Purple album for this thing,
Dude,
didn't you?"
Uematsu is super unique in
Yeah.
video game music. He wasn't really classically trained. I know and a game we'll talk about later. We can get to that later. But this dude knows classical compositions. He knows how to operate under orchestras and that style of music, but he's also obsessed with rock operas and over-the-top, like, 70s music. And those sensibilities combined in some really beautiful ways. This one, he's leaning hard into, like, that 70s rockness. And later on, when we talk about 6, it's, like, the most operatic.
It's got a bit of one-winged in it as well. It's got a bit of that classic fantasy flair that you're used to.
Let's have a listen. This is The Seal is Broken, which we've all been there.
Hey, you came to the right podcast.
And the name of the final boss is Deathroy.
That song absolutely just shreds so hard. For a game that's about your shadow turning into like creatures.
Persona.
I was going to say.
Myself and my shadow.
Well, literally, they're just these things that just come out of your shadow. It's fantastic. I loved this game. I like 100%ed it my first time through. I remember looking up a guide for it just because I'm like, I don't know if I could play this again. It's a very long video game. In the vein of Dragon Quest, they really were like, we got the same artist. Do you like Final Fantasy II? Here's music from that.
This is Microsoft courting Mistwalker.
And
do you want to play an RPG on a system that no one plays RPGs on?
Right. We want to sell at least 3 Xboxes in Japan this year. Please, let's put a JRPG
and it didn't work.
They only sold 1.5.
Which, it's a big shame. Blue Dragon needs a Switch port.
Honestly, if they could get the rights to that.
I want to play Lost Odyssey probably more than Blue Dragon, but
I've Lost Odyssey. I beat through most of that game, and I was very impressed with the storytelling.
That's awesome.
There were some
weird
over-the-top Final Fantasy tropes.
Yeah.
There's twin children. Oh no!
I don't like when children are in your party. I'm just like, if you're not over the age of 14, like, get the fuck out of my party. Like,
Futaba just squeaked in barely.
I know. I had to do that because, like, in Fire Emblem, there are some characters who are like 14 or 15.
See, if Anakin Skywalker had been 14 in the Phantom Menace, it might have worked.
Honestly, you're not wrong.
Yeah,
on that statement, like
just like. That same kid, a couple years older, with a really bad mustache.
Are you an angel?
Are you an angel? Why do you smell so bad, Anakin?
Right.
Hey, do you like droids?
Is that half a mustache?
I made a protocol droid.
Well, this is podcasting.
Here's my bedroom.
Oh my god!
I know what I'll do. Oh, I guess I'll flip.
That's a cool trick. Now this is podcasting.
Oh my god!
So his name is Deathroy.
Deathroy. Yeah.
He's like a cricket or something.
Yeah, he's a cricket who lives with one of the fake out bad guys.
I wish we could show like a picture of this pour.
It's a saucy pour. It's a beer commercial pour, which is not a good pour, but it goes over the glass just enough to look sexy.
At least I didn't fucking spill it on the table.
Hey, touche.
I just like foam. Yum. He's there's this villain named Nene. He's this mad scientist that you've been fighting the entire game.
That's also
and it
what
turns out
horses
his
say.
little cricket, his little cricket side character buddy, kind of his what's the guy that
Jiminy
Jabba
Cricket?
had?
Salacious Crumb?
Yeah, Salacious. He's this Salacious Crumb. And then at the end, once you defeat Nene, the guy's like, yeah, I'm done with the usefulness of this guy. And he basically turns into this god who you've been seeing in murals all throughout the game.
Oh, okay.
And that's who the actual boss is. So he's been kind of the Grimm of Wormtongue, whispering in his ear and telling him what to do.
I like it, though.
Actually, like a little
it,
cricket.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you wish upon a
I was listening to the music while I was getting the podcast ready earlier, and Carly saw a picture of Deathroy on the screen. She's like, "What the fuck are you watching?" I'm like, "I don't know."
It's the world's newest porn.
Back off, lady.
I wonder if there's Deathroy Rule 34. Never mind. I'll look at that later.
If you look into the Deathroy Rule 34 and you find anything, message us at hairthedogcast@gmail.com.
No.
And we'll be talking a lot more about Uematsu.
Yes.
Up next is number 4, and this is one that Nick, you can helm this one. It's number 4, but it involves 3 houses.
Yes. This is Fire Emblem 3 Houses, which it gets a little fuzzy on who the final boss battle theme goes to.
I put Ask
there's
Dylan or Nick for the final
4
boss
of
name.
them, but as somebody who played specifically the Yellow Deers last in my playthrough of all of these games, it did actually truly make it the last boss theme for me.
Me
Beyond that, though, also going back to the tonal change of going from the regular symphonies and orchestras that normally accompany Fire Emblem games, as well as just like the entire tone of the game. When you finally get to this final boss battle, you get introduced to epic operatic introduction, and then it very, very quickly moves into dubstep, which is hilarious in the best way possible. The first time I heard this song, I literally put my Switch down for a second and was just like, what is happening? Like,
I remember summoning Allie into the room and going like, what's this shit? I was like, and then I turned up the TV volume and she's like, dude, I don't know. I'm like, this wasn't in the game. Like, this is not the game. I played through a ton of Fire Emblems. I'm just like, wait a minute, who?
So there could be a few different songs, though. Are we talking about Rain?
So Rain and Thunder are two written. They're both written kind of in sync with one another.
This one's different. This
One's
is when you
vocal.
face Nemesis.
Yes.
So this is a different song. What is it?
We're looking at
God-Shattering Star.
We're looking at God Shattering Star.
Because I found 2 different God-Shattering Stars. One is Rain and one is Thunder.
Yeah.
There are 2 different versions of this song. I believe Thunder is the one that plays during the battle. They both actually may play through both of them. I wasn't paying attention because
they
it
actually
was the
have
hardest fight in
there
the
are
game.
well, the problem with Fire Emblem a lot of the time is that there are so many different musical cues. It's really hard to step in because that's how they portray dynamicism. Because in the old days, it used to be just 2 portraits talking to each other a lot. And with this one, it's actually like 3D models for the most part, but they use music to kind of swell the emotion because the characters can't really express all
Set
that
the
much.
tone.
Yeah.
And there's 3 different houses that you play through the whole game as, or do you all start at like the same point and branch off later?
On your second mission, or after your first mission, you choose a house to dedicate yourself to, and that is your storyline.
Gryffindor, Ravenclaw.
Golden Deer, Blue Lion, and Red Eagle.
So it's like Legends of the Hidden Temple.
All
a little
old
bit.
beer companies.
Purple Parrots.
But they each represent part of the continent of Fodlan, which is like you're a professor at this monastery, and you basically just have to choose one of them. The storyline doesn't differ. Well, it does depending on one of them.
Once you hit the halfway point, the story really starts to change.
Yeah, and that's where things really kick up. Otherwise, the first half is generally the same thing.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Let's have a listen to God-Shattering Star. I think I mostly did the Rain. And this is from the boss. I put down Ask Dylan or Nick.
Nemesis.
There we go.
Vamos a respassar-vos. La vita da sem grande. Fachavas por Bioris.
So, but this is it. You're in this one. I believe you're in a poison swamp.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
And-
you can't go in the water at all, and the water is everywhere.
and it delays movement
And kills you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you've got to have a few mages on hand to help heal from far away.
Love you,
and then,
Wesley.
but if you built up your character right now, I always made my Byleth an assassin, like just a straight up killer.
My main is the piranha plant.
Now, Brad, I hesitate to recommend this one to you because this is the most Persona
Strategy
game. It's a Persona strategy game,
Yeah.
essentially.
Why would I not want to play
I
that?
was going to
Because
say
Carly could not deal with that. Wait a couple months.
Okay.
yeah, maybe
But
hold off. But
I'll let
yeah.
you. I'll let you borrow mine. I wish I could let you borrow the DLC, which I'm just playing through now.
Oh, the
So-
Ashen Wolves?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
They're good. Yeah.
The intro, when I heard this for the first time, I was getting a lot of like Eyes Wide Shut orgy vibes.
Oh yeah,
And
Kubrick totally would have used this in
yeah,
in all his movies.
Yeah, and his fantasy film he never got to make. And Tom, you were saying it reminded you of Placido Domingo.
Yeah, it was like a cross. If Placido Domingo had a baby with Desi Arnaz, I think the vocalization, because it sounded like Babalu.
Ricky.
You get very Italian operatic. Like,
Yes, yeah. But I also want to say, like, I thought it fucking rocked.
Yeah.
I'd never
Big
heard
time.
this before, and when I listened to it, I'm like, I'm going to listen to this one the whole way through.
Well, a lot of people
It's-
gave up.
It's a worthwhile one.
A lot of people thought this game was. Well, this is probably the longest Fire Emblem game. Period.
It's also probably the easiest Fire Emblem game, too, though.
Yeah, because it gives you options.
Yeah.
I mean,
Most
Awakening I
accessible,
found to be.
yeah, for people.
I found Awakening to be pretty damn simple too. But
I didn't even play Fates.
Hey, well,
I
people
played-
need to know where their Smash Brother
I
characters
played
are coming
the
from.
two Fates. And, well, I played both Fates.
Got to turn those guys.
The next Smash character, the guy who sings opera in the final song of Fire Emblem.
I would fucking play this.
That'd be
That
a really
guy in
unique
the
character.
Yes, or
I
be
would,
like
I would main that.
have like a
character.
Fire Emblem inside story inside the opera singer.
Just Tom Bombadil of the Fire Emblem.
Hey, Tom Bombadil.
He's a support character in Smash, which makes no sense.
Man. No, yeah, this one bumps. I love Fire Emblem Three Houses. It's one of the best strategy games.
Yeah.
In
If you're looking to get into Fire Emblem, play this game.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
It's really hard
And
to go
it-
back. The first ones are really hard to go back to. There's a lot of min-maxing that you have to be aware of before you go into battle. It's those games are meant to be kind of heartbreaking.
Yes.
This one is definitely not meant to be that. You literally there is a thing you can use called the Divine Pulse. If one of your characters dies, you can just try again.
Right.
Yeah, you can
No permadeath.
turn back the sands of time.
Well, the
basically.
permadeath, I always keep
It's still
permadeath
there.
on. But if you run out of divine pulses, then then the permadeath still exists, which kind of makes it an easy mode. But the levels are actually quite hard, especially with the monsters. So.
Yes.
We're getting into some heavy hitters now. We're in the final three. I'll start this one. Final Fantasy VI. I think it'd be impossible to make this list without having Dancing Mad on there.
Yeah.
It is so it towers above so many other songs because of it's It's very large. It's very gigantic, bombastic. Right. It is epic in scope in every way imaginable.
Not only does he fit that iconic laughter into the song itself, that's put into the actual soundtrack. So as you're playing the third phase of this fight, all of a sudden you get to hear Kefka's laughter over the background, and you just lose your mind.
Well, what's great about the third movement is it's Toccata and Fugue, and it's almost completely lifted from one of the most famous pieces ever, Toccata and Fugue in D minor by Bach. Mm-hmm. So it's got this huge religious tone to it, and it seems almost like honoring it, and then you hear Kefka laughing, and it's just him mocking all of people's ideas of a savior and a god.
Well, have you ever paid attention to the structure of the boss?
The tower you're climbing up?
Well, yeah, because the first stage you fight the underworld, which are the demons. On the second stage you fight man and beast. The third stage you fight angels and all of its host. And then you basically fight the ascended Kefka, which is really cool thematically.
And it's got so much different little pieces of music from earlier in the game woven in there. This is like a masterclass in when you see a musical and every song before kind of adds up in that last bit, whatever they call that. Tom, you probably know.
What bit?
When a musical has all of the songs represented in that final piece,
a medley?
A medley? Yeah, maybe that's the right word. But
are you thinking of motif?
Well, there's a lot of motifs going through this.
Call back.
It's got all of those things.
I would say a callback medley.
Yeah, yes.
The first movement has Catastrophe from earlier in the game. And we were mentioning Toccata and Fugue. There's a counter melody of Kefka's theme interwoven in there at points. And it's huge. And the fourth movement features a reprise from the opening theme calling back the very beginning of the game. And it slows down and becomes kind of more melancholic. And some people have complained Kefka doesn't get enough of a final speech at the end. Really, no, it's the music is him, his entire story, and the visuals are delivering the message.
Yeah. I mean, most of the final bosses in Final Fantasy is just you thought that was the villain, huh? Here's the real villain. Yeah. So, I mean, none of them get final speeches. What are we talking about?
Yeah, Kefka is a really interesting villain. I think he's much more interesting than most of the Final Fantasy schlock.
He's the Joker of the Final Fantasy.
He is literally inspired and written off of that. Yeah. He's supposed to be chaos. He's supposed to be that introduced element that just upturns everything. Mm-hmm. And introducing that into a fantasy world is just such a fun idea.
I don't know another final boss music or song before this that was 17 minutes. It's got such a ridiculousness. I remember as a kid hearing that, having to download it and just being blown away. Yeah.
It takes up 12 megs of the 24 megabyte cartridge.
And it's worth every single meg.
Yeah. And it's so interesting that up until Final Fantasy VII, Uematsu had never worked with an orchestra. Yeah. He was doing all of his own shit.
And think of the opera from 6.
Yeah, he was masterful at understanding how it all layers in, but the fact that he never actually worked with large-scale musicians.
Sure.
He didn't go to a musical college or anything like that either. He just started making music, right?
He's make a theme song now, or the company, you have 10 seconds, this game needs one. Sorry, here's Final Fantasy theme song.
And then he farted out Final Fantasy's theme.
Yeah. That was one of the only instances of crunch working.
It must have been easier, though.
Yeah.
Yep. It's great, though. It's great. Hell of a theme.
Let's have a listen to Dancing Mad for Kefka. say anything about their
What, Dylan
personal
just said?
experience with Dancing Mad or Kefka?
This one always blows me away. I would like when I first like really got into using the internet, I would just go on like Google Video. You guys remember that? Or I'd go on YouTube and I would just be like, Dancing Mad, different version. I just wanted to hear different versions of it because I was obsessed with the song. That was an earworm that probably stuck in my head for at least 4 months straight.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, I was never like I gotta fucking listen to this song, constantly kind of guy. But it's just so indelible, as many of these songs are, with that actual fight.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't separate whenever you listen to it, you can't not think about the boss battle, and you can't not think about the boss battle without thinking about the song.
Yeah. This is, I think, a lot of kids' probably first exposure to classical style music outside of church, where you might be hearing some of that more.
If it has an organ in it, you usually heard it at church.
Yeah, and to think that this is probably a lot of people's first experiences hearing really well done classical style music mixed with like 70s prog rock, opera.
Basically every style of music in one track.
It's great.
It's great.
It's one of the first boss tracks that like I genuinely have just remembered forever. Like it locked itself in my brain, and like forever afterwards it was like, oh, that's Kefka's music. Like, oh my God. Like I can hear it and immediately be like, oh, okay, sure. I need to fight the Joker.
And you made a joke earlier about how it was 12 megabytes of the cartridge, but what Uematsu seriously accomplished in that one Super Nintendo cart is insane.
It's insane.
He did that on bits.
Yes, and I guarantee a fair amount of megabytes is that soundtrack on there. I wonder if anybody ever did the math on that.
Well, I will say this is, as much as I love this as a final boss theme, that opera, that fucking ripped me apart. I was like, wait, they can do this in games?
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, yeah, that is the musical moment.
If you have to listen to one song by the Black Mages, it's called Darkness and Starlight, and it literally does the opera.
Really?
Oh, that's amazing.
Because in the song she says, I'm the darkness, you're the starlight. Mm-hmm. And that's what they name it. Because originally it's just called the opera, I believe, in the soundtrack. But it's a really good rendition of it. And now when they play it live, they bring on people for like one song. They bring on like 3 people.
Sure.
To play each of the parts, Maria, Draco, and the guy who abducted Maria and is going to marry her. I don't know if you paid attention to the actual story.
Deathroy.
Deathroy.
Yes.
Absolutely.
What is this cricket doing here?
It's like Plankton. Give me your formula.
It's like, you're this magic soldier, but damn, you can sing too. That's
God
cool.
damn, yeah.
Fuck. Celeste or Terra?
Oh, Celeste.
Celeste.
Sabin.
Sure.
I mean, yeah.
Umaru.
Mog.
Also,
Moogie.
Listen to the Final Fantasy VII series to hear all about Moogie.
Those when you use the dances, baby. I can see him shaking his little butt.
you're not hearing me say no.
Now, Dylan, can you explain to me how to pronounce Batankados?
There is no set way to say it, but I say Batankaitos.
Which is number 2.
Yes, this is Violent Storm, which is the final boss from that game.
It's also me after Taco John's.
This is also...
Hey! Thank you, guys. He's here every other Thursday.
And that's the joke of the episode. Whoa! Get your gamer fuel. Get your Mountain Dew points for Halo.
Cha-ching!
I'm out of here.
Pizza rolls, eat them, put them in your mouth. But not when they're too hot, or you could sue us. No, this song rules. This entire soundtrack is absolutely beautiful. It's this whole entire game inspired me to paint, and that's not even a joke.
Is it it's a traditional RPG or is it an action RPG?
It is an RPG that is timed, but it is card selection. So it's a deck builder game.
Okay.
This game is so unique so painterly, so atmospheric. This is a game I've talked about several times on other Dogcasts. So if you really want my full opinion on it, you can look at that. But the soundtrack itself, it can at times be like this, like super sweet, sentimental, almost mournful in the same way that Gwyn is, because this world is so shattered and weird.
And it's awesome you bring that up. Same composer, Motoi Sakuraba, as Dark Souls.
Yep. And everything works in this game. Everything works. It is a sleeper hit because it was on the Nintendo GameCube. It had decent box art, but that's not like that's not a ticket to paradise. Not like it is now, like where everything is like previewed to death. I promise you, if this game came out remastered on the Switch, it would sell probably over 3 million copies.
3 million.
Yeah, no joke. I
remember
think it would.
I remember the box art being fine. It was interesting enough. You got a blue-haired guy
with wings,
and then
coming out of clouds.
And
it's enough anime. For
the
me.
name, I'm like, okay, it's an RPG. I think the problem was it was a GameCube RPG, which just wasn't my thing at the time.
It's actually a very mature game, and it's infinitely explorable. Not infinitely, but it's got so much going on. I don't know. I fucking love it. And this is the final boss. And I'll be honest with you, by this point in the game, I was kind of like, okay, let's get it over with. You ever get to the final dungeon? And have you ever just been like, all right, I fucking get it. Like, can't I just face the final dude now? Like, I don't need
That's
this
me
extra...
like halfway through every game I play now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm done.
Well, it's just like, this
Stop
is the final...
grinding.
I get that this is supposed to be like a test,
I know.
final crucible. But then once I reached this final boss, I was like, I was like 13 at the time, and I was just like, okay, fucking all right. And then this music comes on,
which is Violent Storm from the Wicked God of Destruction, Malpercio. Dude, I'm feeling it.
When you're using 5 of your, because it's all random draw, 5 of your chrono blades in the roll topped up with Mizuki's like Heaven's Gate. Hell yes. Dude.
Say that one more time.
5 of your Chronos blades in a row topped off with Mizuki's Heaven's Gate. Ka-ching. Like that boss is just like, oh fuck.
Tom, you were mentioning something called a Hammond organ?
Yeah, you could hear hints of a Hammond organ. Are you guys familiar with the Hammond organ sound?
So what you're telling me is there's such an instrument as an organ made of ham?
Ham and organ.
No, you're playing ham and organ. You're playing ham and organ at the same time.
Okay.
Have you ever been to your old grandma's house and seen something just sitting in the corner?
Yes.
Only my young grandma's house.
There's a rotisserie in the middle of it.
Grandma, rao.
No. So Hammond organ, very distinctive organ, very popular in like late 60s, 70s rock. If you hear it on its own, you're like, oh yeah, you know what it sounds like. And I love the Hammond organ, and it just sounds good. This dude knows how to fucking layer his songs, and just to have that in the background,
just
constant
sitting.
just sitting, and you can't hear it. I mean, it's not perceptive for a lot of the song, but it's just there, and you know it's there. I love it.
I get F-Zero vibes from this song.
Yeah.
Very fast electro guitar riffs that just keep going faster and over, like
More.
repeating
more.
those riffs that just
Like-
keeps getting you jacked up.
What is break?
This would be like I'd put this on my running playlist or something.
This is too fast. I feel like
This is your...
You're sprinting full speed.
Yeah. Stop it. All right, 2
Then you
minutes.
put Gwen Lotus Cinder and you're just like walking in slow motion.
So it's 2 minutes of sprint is this. Then Gwen is like 3 minutes a walk.
There you go.
It's me wheezing.
Stay tuned for the exercise version of this playlist.
The top 10 exercise songs from video game history by the Raw Dogs.
Experimented by not me.
This song obviously kicks ass. I'm really surprised Dom voted for it. If he's played Batten Kaitas, I've got a lot to say to him.
Mad props to Dom. He settled a few ties on this one. Plus, he listened to every one of these 12 songs that were up for the final vote in completion before he put down his thing. I don't know if he played Kaitos at all, but he thought about it. Yeah.
I talked to him today, and he was like, by the way, I haven't listened to any of these songs.
All right. So objectively, this is his favorite song.
Yeah,
But
he's
tell me,
won.
but tell me about Malpercio.
Oh my God. I wish I could fucking tell you. I wish I could even fucking. The last time I played this, I was 20 years old. That was 10 years ago. By this point in the game, you've defeated part of the evil empire and your arch nemesis, Giacomo. Kaim, the main character, has already turned evil and has turned back.
Whoa.
And Malpercio is the one who basically separated the continent and pushed it into the air, if I remember correctly, because it's all floating continents, and
like Skyward Sword,
yeah, except way better.
but actually a good game.
Or Skies of Arcadia.
Yes,
Which actually was a good game.
Arcadia is a fantastic video game.
I got it day one, baby.
You have it on, do you have the Dreamcast or the Legends for the GameCube?
Dreamcast.
I've got Legends for the GameCube, which is apparently worth a lot of money.
My car broke down,
And
I
it's
bought it.
much better.
It's much better.
Apparently much better.
Yeah.
They fixed some stuff. I love it. Yeah. Malpercio, though, he is your typical, like, I've been working behind the scenes the whole time, and I am here to finally bring wrath. Yeah. That's it. That's all he is. It's not an emotional finish by any means.
He's the big bad evil.
Yeah. It's like, okay, cool. Another one of these. But I loved the entire game, so it's really
That's cool. I like this song a lot, man. I had never heard it before today. Listen to it. And
I would love
And
to
it
do.
slaps.
It fucking slaps. And I'll be honest with that.
I think it kicks.
Yeah, that's
start that.
That's fair.
It
That's
bonks, dude. It bonks.
It bonks.
Bonks. We're gonna say that.
I'm like, it has.
bonks.
It
I'm
has-
getting
Dude, it
strong.
bonked her last night.
I'm getting strong Ryuji vibes right now.
For why?
What's bonking?
Yeah. What is not number one? We're going to do an honorable mention or dishonorable mention. Let's hear the
First,
final.
the deaths we've had this year.
Let's hear the final
In memoriam.
the final boss theme for Bubsy. Everyone think about how bad 2020 was while we listen to the final boss theme from Bubsy.
Golden Corral.
think everybody everyone kind of knew what number one was going to be.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Who wants to take it?
I like low-key fought against it.
Yeah,
Of just like,
I was like,
I'm not going to be that guy.
I was like, I
I'm not
don't
gonna
want
do
to.
yeah,
but
that's
also-
actually what I said. I'm like,
Yeah.
really? Are we all going to have
I'm
this
like, I'll be
in
that
one?
guy. It
Seriously
has to be
though,
there.
after listening to it today on the way home, I was like, it's fucking good.
Yeah.
Which
no.
one were you listening to, though? Were you listening
Original PlayStation 1,
Yeah. Oh, okay.
One-Winged Angel.
Okay.
The
Final
one-
Fantasy 7.
Sure.
Number one.
It was that song that wasn't Sephiroth's theme until after they released the game, and then they realized that it was Sephiroth's theme.
Yeah.
Well, they scream Sephiroth in the song multiple times.
Sure, but
It's very close to that.
No, I looked up the Latin. I looked up the Latin lyrics. They do say Sephiroth.
All right, it's like Sloth from the Goonies.
The original
singing it.
citation of the game that is not Sephiroth's theme.
Oh, it's called One-Winged Angel in the original game.
It's just the final boss theme.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it was called One-Winged Angel in the original one.
Could be.
Yeah, it is. It's still called One Wing
But-
8.
So that's Sephiroth's theme.
What is
while they were
Sephiroth's final
developing it.
form?
But anyways, guys, remember how I was saying before, sometimes there are themes and boss fights that are just melded together. You can't have one without the other. I think this is like the ultimate, for me, the example of that. Because, I mean, when you listen to this song, are you not just picturing the pan out from, the initial encounter with the one-winged?
It's so iconic. This reminds me of like how good Duel of the Fates is in Star Wars.
yeah.
It immediately transports you to like, the first. It's like name that tune with like one beat or whatever. It's like, oh shit.
All you have to hear is "Pep pep."
Yeah.
And you would know exactly what
it's
the
like
song
it
is.
goes so high and so low. It's just like it's got this crazy march and like the drums in the background, just like an army marching to the beat. And okay, so there's a lot of Latin in there, and I'm sure most of us don't know what the Latin actually says. They're like "Fedi daddy baddy dosh dodi boo."
Very dirty birdie.
I looked
Josh?
it up. The Latin lyrics contain "Do not remain in memory, raging anger and sorrow, brutal, terrible, terrible fate." And then he invited death, painful, tainted birth. Do not call, he will come again. My son, come, my son.
Well, I know what your
almost
wedding
as
vows should be.
I'm going to read that, yes.
It's almost as if
Raging anger and sorrow.
Genova, sing it.
Sephiroth.
Yeah.
Sephiroth. I'll have my brother, like, from one of the groomsmen spots, just go Sephiroth really loud.
And like one cardboard wing comes out of his suit. That'd be great.
He, like, pulls a little, like, thing.
Pretty cool, huh? No, this is a wedding.
Nobody's gonna get this.
You're ruining my reception.
And this, I mean, the song, it's so good that, like, it's fucking rehashed. It's in everything now, and they brought it back a million times.
It's in Smash.
It's in a
now.
Smash Brothers trailer.
the Advent Children.
He kills
version.
Mario.
The Advent Children movie though was like actually pretty damn entertaining, if I do say
I
so
like
myself.
I like the movie. I like Advent One-Winged Angel better than the PlayStation 1 version.
That's
by
because it
a
had
million
an
miles.
orchestra.
It's much bigger. Well, actually, this the Final Fantasy VII. This was the first time he had been using an orchestra because PlayStation 1, the capabilities on there,
Yes.
was huge.
There's still a lot of MIDI in it, though.
Yeah.
There's a ton of MIDI, yeah.
He was able to do a little bit more with it.
He mostly used it for
But it opens up once the voices get
the
kick in.
The first Final Fantasy theme song to use vocals. He was inspired by Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, which is yep. It's kind of like that terrible, like repeating sound.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, so you're gonna hear the whole song from us before you hear the song.
I was gonna say we're just gonna beatbox it for
It's gonna be stuck
everyone.
in my head forever.
And there's
Especially the fact that I'm playing Remake right now. And so Sephiroth in this one, he's your fucking buddy. He just hangs out and he's like, "Hey Cloud, how you doing?" He just pops up a lot of the
No.
time. He's like, "Hey bud."
you're gonna. I mean, I appreciate the fact that it is a retelling, and it's almost. They've been building
It's
up.
not the same game, which is fine.
It's
I have
they've
so
been building
many
up to
theories.
this. They've been building up to this from the beginning. Like even with these lyrics, like "I will never remain a memory," and then he says it in Advent Children.
I will never.
And this is actually like it's a little cheeseball, but I mean it's coming back because from what the story and remake has shown, it's actually like an
sequel?
omnipresent Sephiroth who like kind of knows and is changing the course of fate.
Can I blow your minds?
You usually do.
Oh, that's fine. Some of the Sephiroths are not the same Sephiroth in that game.
In Remake?
Yeah, clearly they're not.
Yeah, well,
There are a couple of
Sephiroth
Sephiroths.
it's multiverse Sephiroth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Doctor Strange Sephiroth.
It's
And so they're
live
going to be
stream
like
Sephiroth.
factions of Sephiroth. And not in the way that the tattooed guys could kind of be Sephiroth if Sephiroth inhabited them. But like, I already noticed it. I'm like, you just talked to him. Why are you pretending like you didn't? Whatever.
As far as the
We'll
concept,
see in another 10 years.
You're going to get people's hopes up that it's going to end well.
Yeah, I know, right?
I like
do
how
it.
this is working right now.
do
so
it. Don't jinx
fine.
it.
I think I like where it's going. I hope they get there within 20 years.
By the way, any optimists for the end of the story, stop being optimistic. The entire theme of the story is loss. So
It's just going to start over again.
Don't watch Making a Murderer Season 3. It won't end the way you want it to.
it's just one of those things
found
that I
Brad's
feel the
body.
need to warn people over.
Tom, can you explain what a one-winged angel is?
No, I can't. Nope.
So, how can he fly with one wing? He just go in a circle. It's dumb.
I don't know what he's got one wing. He looks like a mermaid.
Okay.
Well, you see, when the Mako infusion, wait, no, it's Mako now, right?
You can call whatever you want. If no one likes it, they can get the fuck.
I think it's Eris.
Oh no!
Either way, she's still
still
voiced
like
by
her.
Mina Savari in the American version, so whatever.
Well, not anymore, but which is a good thing.
I still have the DVD of Advent Children, so they'll never take it away.
Yeah. So yeah, if somebody could
Dilly-dally.
remind me of what the one winged.
So he's an
thing is.
incomplete god. So having one wing is kind of thematic.
God is dead.
It's more that his Mako infusion made him into what is basically like a true half ancient. So he's able to access their Materia's powers, which are Holy and Meteor, the two sides of destruction and creation.
Yin and yang.
Yeah. Which is why Aerith is kind of his.
They're going to have more of a duology between Aerith and Sephiroth.
Yeah,
with the
I mean,
remake and the future ones. They're
yeah.
going to definitely have.
Yeah,
they're going to
that's
show
nice
some
of them.
children scenes with them interacting a little bit. But Uematsu, he wanted to fuse the styles of Russian composer Igor Stravinsky, who especially the Rite of Spring, as well as Jimi Hendrix with this song. So
My
let's
favorite
hear
composer.
One Winged Angel from Sephiroth.
Foxy lady.
You definitely hear the Hitchcock stabby sounds. There's so many just like, what do you call it when like those like big up crescendos and like the sounds like it goes up and down like crashing against each other. Fortissimo. Yeah.
The vocals have a very staccato kind of like.
Oh yeah, it's like Carmina Burana.
It's Raw Dogs.
Yeah.
Patreon.
Select a tier.
Please give us cash. We are poor.
Eat my ass. Wow.
Beer is expensive.
But yeah, One Winged
dead. Eat my ass. Eat my ass. God is dead.
One Winged
We could
Angel.
actually compose
The
that.
Raw Dogs.
One Winged Angel. What a banger. What a great
I mean,
boss
it's
tune.
it's
Are you
legendary.
going to do Marriott?
There's
I might.
There's a reason that it is so beloved, and it's one of those things where, is it overrated?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I think so.
Not from my not from my own personal perspective. Maybe it's overrated by other people, but
I think it deserves every bit of hype that it gets. Overrated, maybe, but that's just because it is rated literally as the end-all, be-all of boss
and
battle
I'll tell you,
themes.
It's probably the only boss theme when somebody mentions like what's your favorite, what's the best final boss theme. That's like the only one I can think of. Really? Just
in the moment, yeah.
Yeah. You're
and
like,
then
of course.
And then I jumped to Dancing Mad because it's just like so absurd. This guy made a 17-minute
So you're just a
song.
Final Fantasy simp.
Yeah.
Well, Dylan had expressed like we can't have more than like 2 games from one series because otherwise it's just the Uematsu podcast.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Which I'm very happy that Sakuraba got 2 games on here, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. And
Deserved.
we got 3 Uematsus on here, and I'm glad Blue Dragon was one of them, which is fucking awesome.
Well, I mean, like, it literally, for me, my choices came down to what got stuck in my head, what made me actually think about the game over and over again. Because that's it, right? I've played so many Assassin's Creed games. There are maybe a few good soundtracks.
Wait, do Assassin's Creed games have boss battle music?
Do they have music?
Can you?
Sea
shanties in 4.
Ezio's theme is epic.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and
Yes,
also, like, can you remember? Like, there's maybe a few assassinations you remember, but otherwise, it's like you just go stab a dude.
Well, when you fight the Pope, there's a song. I really like that.
I wish there was like a
Yes.
Pope battle in Assassin's Creed, which was like the Halo 2 one where there's the Pope riding like the chair, and you have to like jump on this robotic chair and stab him.
I'd rather have.
Actually, I just want to
to
stab the chair and have it fly him off the side
That's cool.
of the
Yeah. I
cliff.
still haven't finished Valhalla, so I'll let you guys know if that happens.
Well, as long as you get to fight the Pope, I'll play any game that lets you fight the Pope. I'm sorry.
Just the modern day Pope.
So essentially,
Protects child molesters.
that was the top 10 final boss theme songs. We've come up with the thought that God is dead. Fight the Pope, eat some ass.
All of it. All of that.
I'm slowly like destroying you guys mentally. Like my shit's seeping right into your brains. It's
Dylan's
so good.
Dylan's convinced me to play Nier Automata and Bloodborne, and my psyche is becoming fractured. And
I mean, I recommend all of those games.
no, I'm into it. I'm into it. It's not, you're not destroying me. You are enlightening me.
If I'm,
Are you the final boss?
Come to
I am.
the dark
Can
side.
I call myself the final boss of the dog?
You're obsessed with Hades
What is,
right
yes.
now.
What is your theme music?
I'll have to
The chicken
compose it.
dance.
Elmo and Patsy.
Let's eat some ass.
The Raw Dogs.
There will be a video for that for the Patreon.
Yeah.
You could do that on accordion, dude.
That's
It was
really
made
why I
for
did the
accordion.
motions. I've done it before.
Yeah, you are the final boss of the
Awesome.
of the podcast.
What's like my special power? Can I like summon planets into each other?
Tom, what are we at time wise?
We are at 156, Brad.
All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to just wrap this up here. And then if you are a Patreon supporter, stick around because there's going to be an extra 30, 45 minutes for you where we are going to eat one of the hottest chips known to man, the one chip challenge from Packy.
I'm not sure if it's the hottest known to man.
Well, it's whatever. That's what they say. It's a
They
challenge.
say it on the website, so it's got to be true, Dylan.
You said it's just Carolina Reaper, right?
Dylan and Nick will not be participating in this.
Or
because-
Brad and Nick. I don't know. I don't care. I don't care.
Don't you guys want to feel alive for once?
Someone's got to take phone video.
Who's taking the chip?
I think it was those two, but I'll take it. I
Oh
don't
yeah,
care.
no. Sorry, I thought you were doing that. I did not realize.
But
I want to see Nick.
I'm not sure.
No,
if
thank
we-
you.
I don't know if we want to call it. What do you think?
Do you want to see me throw up? I will.
Are you really going to ask me that question?
I was thinking, like every episode, we could stick around like an extra 30 minutes and just kind of shoot the shit, and it would be like I was thinking either Doggies After Dark or Raw Dogs B-sides.
I like dogs.
I like Doggies After Dark.
Doggies After Dark.
So if you're a Patreon supporter, Doggies After Dark will be coming very shortly, where we eat some hot ass shit and we talk about 2020 and probably whatever else is on our mind.
Kind of a shooting the shit.
Yeah, just being us.
Thank you for listening to us this year. Thank you to all of our fans. Thank you, Ryan, for writing that wonderful email to us.
Yeah,
thanks,
Ryan, I look forward to actually reading it. This is great.
I was reading it on the way home today, and it.
Did you tear up?
It tickled you.
No, it wasn't like the ending of Home Alone 2 or nothing, but it was pretty good. And so,
wasn't
Tom,
like the ending of Home
Tom,
Alone
where could
2.
they find us if they want to reach out to us?
Well, like you said, Brad, go ahead and email us at hairofthedogcast@gmail.com. We are on Twitter at HotDogcast. Please tweet at us. That'd be great. And we're on the Instagrams, the Facebook. Just look up Hair of the Dogcast, usually all one word. It's just there. And we are also on Patreon, and we would really appreciate your support.
What can they find on Patreon, Dylan?
They can find multiple tiers with different rewards for each tier. I believe you get it high enough, you get an executive producer credit, and we will name you on every goddamn podcast we have.
Every fucking
And
podcast.
tell you
also,
what,
they can
hold on.
choose. They can choose the topics.
They can choose the topics if they go high enough. And I literally will do anything. So I want you to choose something that makes Brad
He's not
really
lying.
embarrassed. It could be like awful Barbie games.
I wouldn't be embarrassed about that. That'd be fun.
Can we please choose something that embarrasses Brad or me? I don't really
What
care.
would it be?
Debase me a bit. I honestly have not a ton of shame, so it doesn't matter. But if you even give us enough, though, and you live in the Milwaukee area or you're going to visit, we will take time out of our schedules to give you a night on the town.
And even if you just say hi to us on Instagram, not as a Patreon supporter, we'll text you back.
Yeah.
What's up, lame dog dad?
Yeah.
What's up, Ryan? We talk with you guys quite a bit, and Brian had a lot of love to give you guys while I was at home.
He's been very supportive of my art on Instagram.
We were
Good dude.
We were at his place last night, and he's like, "Oh, that's the topic for tomorrow. Who's on the show?" And he's like, he knows he's in on it, you know. Yeah.
Nice.
That's fucking sick.
Yes.
Love you, Brian.
And the One Chip Challenge is also brought to us by executive producer Kate Conti. So
Oh man, she just wants to torture
she
you.
wants us to die.
I thought I was going to a rap show. It was way better.
See? Yeah.
And Nick, do you have anything else that you want to add?
I just appreciate everyone. I want everyone to have a great 2021 because this year's been challenging.
It's got to be better, right?
Yeah, I mean that's what science says. It doesn't. But
It's only getting
There's
statistically, it should be better.
There's been one miracle this episode. Nick, you have been on the microphone very well.
I am
Phenomenally well.
I'm sorry that
You're learning.
I have been absent.
Nick, I think you sound fine anyway.
I lean away from.
Always sound good. Your drift has gone away.
I lean away from the stick in my face most of the time. So
well,
And so this has been Raw Dogs, everyone. Thank you for a wonderful year of listening to us. And fuck off 2020. Very excited to meet you 2021.
bye bye, Year of the Rat.
And also, this will be
Actually, that'll happen
This
in
might be the
February.
last time I have a beer with
say
you
that
guys
was
for
not
a
the year of the
while.
rat.
Oh, yeah. You're going dry.
Dry January, not a single drop of alcohol for all of Mega Manuary. So
January.
you should modify that to not include the 30th.
sorry, no
gotta
half
live.
measures.
No help.
I'm Walter White, dude.
You are.
I'm gonna run over the drug dealers this time.
I'm gonna force
You're the
you
one
to
who
watch me
knocks.
get so fucking tanked up.
I am
And I'm
the
gonna
one-
burp in your
Then in
face.
I am the one who has
February-
trouble sleeping when he's not drunk.
Then in February,
goes away
I'm
after
getting
14
you
days.
blind drunk because you didn't drink with me on my birthday.
I'm fine with that.
Wow.
And on that note,
This is some video game music.
what are your favorite songs? Let us know. And yeah, we'll see you next time. And for Patreon supporters, if you want to hear us talk for another 30, 40 minutes, here it comes.
Damn.
Take care now.
Bye-bye then.
God is dead. Eat some ass.